Hey guys, this is Crow and welcome to Promo Look At. These are basic videos that I do for tabletop gaming, and without further ado, today's promo we're going to be looking at is for Pokemon, a trading card game. And the promo we're going to be looking at is your standard background of the English Pokemon cards with a Pokeball on it, but the promo we're really looking at is Eevee, a basic Pokemon with 30 HP. It's colorless, and its artwork is basically it's Eevee evolving into Flareon from the looks of it. And I like how there's this blue hollow right here, red hollow, and yellow hollow over here, basically indicating the original 3 evolutions of Eevee before the others came into game. So it's an evolution Pokemon in length 1 foot, weighs around 14 pounds, Black Star promo as you guys can see right here, and it has a Pokemon power chain reaction. This power can only be used when a Pokemon evolves. Search your deck for a card that evolves from Eevee and attach it to Eevee. This counts as evolving Eevee. Shuffle your deck afterwards. This power can't be used if Eevee is asleep, confused, or powerless. Well, special condition. For 1 colorless energy, you can use the move Bite, and it does 20 weakness to fighting, resistance to psychic, and it has no retreat cost, which is awesome. And over here it says its genetics code is irregular. It may mutate if it's exposed to radiation from an elemental stones. Level 7, number 133. Illustrations by Kingamoru Hamano. If not, I'm sorry, I butchered the name. 95, 96, 98. Nintendo Creatures, Game Freak, and 99 to 2000 Wizards Promo 11, as you guys can see. So, this is basically Eevee. So, if you guys like, so I always start this out, if you guys like to sleeve your cards, it fits in a standard Pokemon Magic the Gathering sleeve, so you don't need a special type of sleeve, it's just the regular standard. So let's start off with its evolution power, basically, Pokemon power. Basically, let's just say I have Eevee in the bench, and I have Skitty in the active zone. If, let's just say, my turn came and I evolved Skitty into Delcatty, then I can use its power to search my deck for the evolution of Eevee, which I have right here, bam, and that is Espeon, which I'm choosing because you can choose whichever evolution you want. You're not entitled to just Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon. You can choose anybody you want. So, what if, let's just say I didn't have this Eevee, my opponent had the Eevee, and I evolve my Delcatty, they can also use their ability and evolve their Eevee as well to that Espeon. So this power is not basically only on your turn, it's on whoever evolves. The moment you evolve a Pokemon, that's when this power takes effect and evolves Eevee. So it's a pretty good effect because of the simple fact that it can be as soon as you place Eevee and then you evolve right there in the spot. It counts as evolving Eevee, so you can't re-evolve him into something else. No. So that's like an evolution count. So that's basically the end of that. Normally, you have to wait a turn before you evolve, but in this case, you don't have to. So it's basically kind of like a Rare Candy or a Wally's training method, which is pretty good. It's one of the best abilities in the game so far. So that's basically how Eevee's power works. Now, let's just say I was going to attack. For that colorless energy, I can just give him a fire or I can give him an electricity. It doesn't matter what I give him, as long as I give him an energy, because that's colorless, it can count as anything. So it's like a wild card. And then I can use Bite, which I do 20 damage, and there is no backlash to it or like a secondary effect to it. It's just 20. So that's pretty good for 1 energy, because normally when it comes to doing more than 10 damage for back in the day, you needed at least 2 energies, or like let's just say for double edge you needed 1 energy, but in the end you're going to do 30 damage plus you take you take a 10 damage to yourself, so it's like minus for your HP. So that's basically how this card works. And if I wanted to retreat him, I just retreat him. It doesn't matter because he has no retreat cost. So that's another thing that's good for him. And if he was going to fight this Espeon, so let's just say he was going to do Confuse Rate, the only thing he can do right there is confuse me because I cannot take 20 damage because of my resistance. So that also gets added to it. So that's basically Eevee. So let's talk about how is he available? Is he still available? How can I get my hands on him? And everything else. So basically, this Eevee was actually released in Japan as a Pokemon fan club card. So the illustration was actually made by a different person, and it has a different artwork compared to this Eevee that we are seeing right here. This is basically the American version of the card. I guess the Japanese one that was released in April of 2000, and it was available all the way until December of 2002, which is pretty interesting. And all you needed to do was get some type of points called get. So that's pretty cool. 500 points exactly, and they will give you the card. And that's how it was available first. But it was an unnumbered promo, so it didn't really have like this one has 11. No, that was just a promo without a number. And that was basically a fan-made card, you can say, that was official because of the artwork. So I'm assuming because of copyrighted issues, that's why we never got the original Eevee for this card, even though this is the one we got, but they got a different one in Japan, different artwork. And then eventually in June of 2000, we got this Eevee, which Wizards of the Coast released to us, and that's how we got our hands on this Eevee. So it was kind of just 2 months from the release of the original Eevee from April 2000. Now, Japan also got this Eevee, but in a non-foil version of it, and it was actually kind of weird because, again, it was an English card, and it was given out for the Stamp Rally back in August of 2000. So I've always found that interesting that Japan always gets English cards, but we get them foil and they get them non-foil. So I always find that interesting that they do that. I don't understand why. So they got that for just as that Stamp Rally promo. And that's how that he was available also in Japan, but as a non-foil. So it's pretty interesting. So with that being said, can I still get my hands on this? Not by the original ways, because this was actually a Pokemon League card released back in June 2000, and you basically enter the tournament, and for the points you got, you basically will get Eevee eventually from battling people and stuff like that, or you can do it like the old methods of trading for it. Basically, that's how this Eevee was released. So it was either you trade for it, you basically bought it from somebody, or you just won it at the Pokemon League, and that's how it came out. And I have to say, it is one of the best Eevees out there. So, with that also being said, the only other way of getting it now is through Coolstuffinc, Troll and Toad, or eBay. And it goes around $5 to like $10, depending on where you're buying it from and the condition of the card. So it's pretty cheap. It's not that bad. It's just a tiny bit harder to get because of the fact that sometimes people are selling just the used version of it. So as you can see, like I have a bent one here, and then this one has like a little bent in the top right up there. So if you want a perfect condition, that's where you're going to kind of spend a little bit more money for it. But other than that, would I recommend it for like this meta game? No, not really. Unless you're going to keep him in the bench and then you evolve one of your Pokemon and then you use his power to kind of just evolve him right there in the spot. But its HP, it will get pretty much killed in an instant from pretty much anything, because the game has evolved so much that a Pokemon with 30 HP, which is now basically what mystery fossils have, will pretty much get destroyed in one freaking smack. So it's not recommended, but its power is really good. So if you like to use its power, it actually would be pretty good to have it, but more to the bench. So I wouldn't recommend it for the metagame nowadays, unless you're really going to keep him in the bench and not really put him in the active zone to attack, because it probably will not survive that next turn until your turn in, unless your opponent evolves. But I don't think your opponent is going to evolve just to basically let you evolve your Eevee, because if they know about that ability, then they know I can't evolve. So with that being said, one little thing, there's a nice little trivia. If you guys know, if you guys can see right here, there's in a little comma right on top of the E. There is no comma for this Pokemon power right here. So that's actually pretty interesting that the accent for Pokemon, because that's where the E comes in, Pokemon, not Pokemon. It's Pokemon. So basically, with that little apostrophe or comma, whatever you want to call that, I forget what you call it, is not there. It basically kind of takes the accent away from Pokemon. So if I were to show you this Poke Power right here, it will have the E right on top. It's a little bit harder to see, but the apostrophe is right on top of it. So that's actually a little interesting little fact about the card. But other than that, I do highly recommend getting this if you are a collector, because this is by far one of the best promos. If you guys like to make old school decks, like I have my old school deck right here, then I will recommend him for your old school decks, not for the metagame nowadays. But it is a very, very good card. I mean, it has a great power. It's one of the best powers in the game. Chain Revolution to me was one of the best. Don't get me wrong, there is energy draw that I like as well, but that Chain evolve like that fast makes it so much interesting. So with that being said, let us know in the comments below, guys, should you get this Eevee for your collection? Oh, nah, don't bother, it's not worth it. Just stick to the basic cards. You don't need this promotional items, because then you're gonna have to get all these other promotional items. So let everybody know in the comments below, do you highly recommend getting this Eevee or not? With that being said, I got a special thanks for you guys for watching. And give this video a like, so that way I can get a little bit more motivated to make more videos just like this and give you more of Pokemon cards that I'm going to be doing for the next couple of weeks. So with that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.